All right, guys, welcome back to the workshop. 928 behind me. A lot of leaks on it, and this guy here also, leaky cam pin end cap seal thing. I'll show you what that's all about and the current way that's recommended to fix it. All right, I'll say first of all, I didn't even know this was a problem, but thanks to the forums sharing rebuild tips, discovered that this is something I should do while I'm at it, because obviously I'm in the middle of the top end rebuild. This is the cam plug on the end, and so the two cylinder heads are actually the same, but you can see here on the number one cylinder where the cylinder is a little bit further forward, you have these little short snouts here. The cam drive goes in and the camshaft bearing goes in here, and this cap seals the end of it, and there's actually an oil galley in there. Likewise on here, but on the 5 to 8 cylinder, because the cylinders are staggered, this one is set back a little bit. So down here, this cam drive is the exhaust cam. There's a double long snout. You can see the double sets of bolts there that sticks out further, and double oil galleys in there, and that's the cam drive. Because the heads are interchangeable, what happens when you take this head and you put it on that side? Well, back here, you can see what happens. There's the extended snout that would be the cam drive if this was on the driver's side. And this has one of those black plastic plugs in it with the retainer, and has one over here too. But the way these came from the factory with the 928, the camshafts go short and there's no bearing in there. So they just end there. So they put these little lollipop plugs in here, and I'll show you one. All right, so I just pulled the passenger side one off. These caps came off with it. You see this one here is double width. You see down in here, there is 2 of these lollipops, but this one here, you can see there's oil on the outside of it, and that was leaking through, and it was leaking out the cap. Sure, they'll pull that right out. Yeah, get that one right out there. It's leaking right through the bottom, and I was getting a lot of oil down outside the cam cover. Oops, never see that again. It's okay, going in the trash. And here's the other one. So these were leaking through pretty good. So this will get all cleaned up, and I'll get the pins in there, and we'll get this. All right, on the driver's side now, I just want one thing on these retainers. The way, thank you, Porsche, you designed these. When you're looking at this from the end, you can't see that hex head. Like you could just put an open or a box wrench on there, because it is recessed into that. Why the hell they designed it that way? makes no sense to me. But this one down here is a tough fit because you've got this line here. And all you really got to do is loosen these. I got to loosen, and I just got them hanging there. On this side, both of these bolts go into the head casting. On the other side, one of them actually goes in to the cradle itself, so you can actually probably just leave that on and just pull it off. Couple of tricks like I use, it's a 10 millimeter. Like my socket wouldn't fit, the head was too big, and I don't have a swivel head in that size. Well, I do, but it's busted. So I use this little guy here that's very low profile on the socket. And the other thing you can do is just take a small pointy vice grip like that. You can reach down in there and get it on there and just break it loose, and then you can kind of loosen it up with your fingers and get it out. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass there. I'm going to go ahead and put the pins in on this side because you can see the oil oozing out a little bit there. So I just want to get those pins in and keep that clean for anything going in there while I'm getting everything cleaned up and ready to put back together. These pins do slide right in, and they're actually fairly loose in there, but again, the point of these is to keep oil from pouring out there where there's no bearing, and to keep the oil pressure up. All right, those are in. I'm just cleaning up the other cradle, and I'll be ready to get these all back together. All right, here's everything I need to do this now. I finally got my Loctite 574 from India. Took 5 weeks, so plan for that. Cleaned everything really good with brake clean, make the mating surfaces nice and shiny. According to the service manual, with the engine in the car, with if you have leaks with the little end caps here, you can basically put your 574 on the bearing surface, stick that in, put a 0.2 feeler gauge, which isn't much, down in between the head and the bearing cap, the bridge. Snap that down, hand tighten the bolts, and then snap the caps in to the ends here with a little bit of oil around the sealing cover, and then torque for 15 foot-pounds. I see no problem in taking a little ultra black, mega black, or some other, right stuff. This is Versachem Mega Black sealant. Putting it right around the edge, very thin coat around the edge, and putting that cap there in place. Getting your 574 on all the metal-to-metal pieces and sticking that whole thing in there carefully, and then tightening it down. I did test fit that method dry, where you can put this bridge on here, put that feeler gauge in there, and snap the cap in. That works fine too. I just think it might be a little bit neater and easier for me to put the fine coating on this cap and stick it here in the bridge first, because that'll hold it in place and make it easier to handle when I'm working down in the engine over there. So let me. All right, I'm going to try this one-handed. I did put the thin coat of Mega Black on there, you can see. I'm going to try to get this eased in here. Make sure your pins are in place. Try not to touch anything else. You can see there's a little locator boss there. That should snap right in there. There we go. All right. Snapped in there. I'm going to go ahead and put the bolts in. All right, get that all torqued down there. You can see the 574 did ooze out a little bit, as you'd expect in the gap there. But that should be nice and tight, and the pins you can see are set in there, and that cap, that bridge holds that pin quite tightly in there. When you put the valve cover on, you can see there's a little residue here of white. There was some white sealant. I'm going to use Honda Bond. The valve cover gasket goes like this and goes up here. You're supposed to put it in this corner here, and that's to seal just a little bit tighter this whole area right through here. There's a little relief in the boss here, but this is down there tight, and that's about as tight as it goes. I'm just going to snug up these bolts that hold this retaining arm in there, and some of that magic black leaked out, squeezed out as you expect it would in the caps. I'm just going to wipe that clean before that sets up, but those caps should be sealed very tightly. And I will just do the same on the other side, and that is how you put the cam pins in.